Hello and welcome to part 3 of how to make a Mary pod. In this part we're going to be winding our embroidery threads around the base. So you'll need whatever colours you choose. I'm going to start with black, and I've also got some fluoro pink, green and yellow. So to start we need to tie a knot at the end of our cord. I like to tie 2 knots just to make a good big knot so it won't slip out. Then where the opening we left at the top, that's where we're going to insert the beginning of our thread. To do this I use an old Stanley knife. It's not very sharp anymore and I find it's good for poking in the gap. You can also use some pointy-ended tweezers or whatever you can find, and just push that right up to the end. Now to begin, we're not going to go this way, we're going to fold it back in the opposite direction, then around the first corner, right close to the edge, but not too close, and a good tension is needed to keep it in place. You can adjust this later if you like. It's the most difficult part is the beginning, so be patient. And then the next round you try to lie the next thread quite close, but as I said you can adjust this, so around and around until you've got enough colour, which is up to you. I've only got a little bit of black left, so I'm just going to use a little bit of black in this Mary pod and try to spread it out throughout the design. So once you've got enough colour on, you'll just leave a little end. So you're back where you first inserted the thread. Hold that in place with your thumb if possible and lay it over that gap, and then press that little bit into that gap so it tucks right in. When you put the next piece of thread in, it's sort of going to help to hold that in place. I'm just using the blunt side of the Stanley knife here. And that's the beginning of winding on your colours. So choose your next colour and it's the same. Start with your knots. Remember to go back over the cardboard in the beginning. Then it's just a matter of winding around and around and around and around. I tend to just hold the Mary pod in one hand and turn it as the other hand lays the colour down. I fix it a little bit as I'm going along. Just there you can see where it's starting to take shape. And it's always a surprise to see the colours. It's quite relaxing. I suppose I could tell you that when I first started making these, it was in the 80s, and I used to sell them at markets when I travelled around Australia, living in the back of our Holden station wagon, and we used to sell them at markets and to shops along the way. I'm not quite sure where the idea came from. Someone showed me, and somewhere I think they said it was some sort of oriental design used in a festival. If anyone knows, it would be great to know about the origins. And the name Mary Pod, I'm not sure where that came from either, but supposedly because it makes you happy to see them, and they're a pod. And this was before iPods were around. They were called Mary Pods. You'll know you're halfway when you get to the bend of the cardboard, so you'll know you'll need about the same again. So I put the black in the center. So I'm not using the yellow because it's sort of reminding me of a licorice all sort, so I decided I'd make this one like a licorice all sort colour. Sometimes when you don't have enough materials, you come up with new ideas. And I've only got a little bit of black left, so I'm trying to spread it out. You can count the threads if you want to make it even amount of colours. That's what I usually do. But in this case, I'm just using a little bit of black in between the fluoro. Okay, now you'll need to colour right to the edge, and it does get a little bit tricky at the end. It's more effective when you don't have any cardboard showing, or as little as possible. So this is calling for some patience because you only have a tiny little gap to poke the last little bit in. So be patient here. I don't use any glue, but you could always use a little bit of aquadear to secure the threads. If you think they're going to come out, but they don't usually. And there you have it, my licorice all sort Mary Pod. Thanks for viewing and have a fun day. Like and subscribe.